Welcome to Brave Healer Productions. It's time to experience what's possible. So, what if there's something you haven't learned yet that could change everything? Welcome, everyone. I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions, where we are helping the world experience what's possible. And here today to help me with that mission are some of the amazing authors of one of our newest books. This is called The Caregiver's Advocate, a complete guide to support and resources. And this is our volume 2 book in an incredibly powerful series from our lead author, Debbie Compton. I want to shout Debbie out real quick, you guys. A humongous thank you goes out to her. Debbie, you had such a big vision and mission for this book and this book series, and it has been an honor to guide it. We would not be here without you. I'm constantly impressed by the stellar group of experts you brought together to talk about this really important topic. And y'all are going to meet 3 of them today. I have some pretty cool people in my Zoom room today. With us is Dr. George Ackerman, a reserve police officer. He teaches college courses in criminal justice, business, and law. He's a dedicated researcher and writer, passionately advocating for a Parkinson's disease cure. I've got Lisa Berry Blackstock with us. She's a savvy independent healthcare advocate who assists her clients navigating the challenges of aging with dignity and safety. And Veronica Shears is here today. She's a certified end-of-life doula working to support the dying and their loved ones from scared to prepared. I like that, Veronica. So you guys, welcome. Lisa, I want to start the party off with you today. Tell us a little bit of the why behind your chapter.
Well, first of all, thank you for the invitation to be here, and I deeply appreciate the opportunity to be part of this team in the Caregiver's Advocate Volume 2. When I had a craniotomy in 2008, I was working in another field completely, no idea that a very scary health diagnosis requiring major brain surgery would lead me into a field of helping other people navigate healthcare. But the door just opened, and I felt compelled to be able to help people walk through a path with someone that I had to walk through alone and was absolutely terrified. So grateful to have survived completely intact. And it's just a fantastic opportunity and really a privilege to be able to share my story and help other people not have to go through the healthcare system alone.
Oh my gosh, yes. There's so many directions I want to go with you and with this, but I'm going to kind of go to that last thing that you said. When people are out there on their own, that is a tough situation to be in. And it can feel like impossible, really. What do you want them to know?
Well, now, fortunately, they don't have to be there alone. I only wish that in 2007, when I was going through my incredible health ordeal, which turned out to be a rare nerve disorder that caused electric shocks on one side of my face, I had no idea. I was in complete shock. My mom, who was a registered nurse, had never heard of my condition, which is called trigeminal neuralgia. It's very debilitating. I was so just frozen in fear that the idea of reaching out to anyone for help never even occurred to me, because I was literally just focused on surviving day to day. Getting shocked electrically in your face every few minutes without any advance warning is so debilitating and so terrifying that when I finally got through to the other side, after I had corrective brain surgery to separate an artery at my brainstem that was compressing a nerve that fed into my face. I just kind of came out of a daze and started to help other people first with this condition. And then word spread to family members and friends and other doctors' offices. And before I knew it, I had a new company on my hands without even really intending to create one.
Yeah, I would imagine as a resource, gosh, to even hear your story is going to be so encouraging for people. So, as a retired physical therapist, I do know about trigeminal neuralgia. And so, but not everybody has even heard a diagnosis like that, right? So, unless you're in the medical field, there's no way you're going to understand or know, but you're making me think of the mindset that you had to adopt to survive, and so that's a pretty big deal, I would imagine it was for you.
Huge. Trigeminal neuralgia is also known as the suicide disease
Mm.
because you can't see it, and there's no x-ray or no image that can diagnose it. And it was only until the 1946 when the medical field actually discovered what the cause was. Prior to understanding what was going on at a person's brainstem with an artery compressing your trigeminal nerve, people would have all of their teeth removed in an effort to try to correct the pain. And when they were completely without teeth, but still experiencing pain, they were told literally that they were out of their minds. And a lot of them, unfortunately, found themselves in, at that time, what were called insane asylums. I was misdiagnosed by two doctors initially, had root canals that I didn't need. And it was such a terrifying experience that I cannot tell you how grateful I am to have made it through to the other side without any collateral damage. I had an incredible neurosurgeon, and it just felt like it was the right thing to do to reach out to help other people so they wouldn't have to go through this alone. And since then, my business, Soul Sherpa, has covered all aspects of healthcare because it's become so difficult for people to navigate insurance and providers and prior authorizations. And there's a tremendous national and even international need for people to have someone help them navigate. I've helped a lot of people from different countries who have found themselves in the United States, either on vacation or on business, and they end up getting sick or getting in an accident and thrown into the US healthcare system. And they end up with bills in 6 and 7 figures, and they have absolutely no idea how that happened in the first place. And number two, how to handle it. But it was an awful experience, but it's turned out to be a wonderful gift. And the privilege of being able to help other people not have to go through experiences like this alone is incredibly rewarding.
Lisa, thank you for saying yes to this project and for being here to share today.
My pleasure, Laura.
Awareness, y'all. So you hear this conversation today, somebody's got a symptom and you're like, I think you need to hear that interview. Like the you all are changing lives with your chapters, with being here to share about the different things that you're up to. Veronica, I would love to hear a little bit of the why behind your chapter.
So, Laura, thank you so much for having me today. It's just such an honor. And to be here with two other beautiful authors is just a gift. So, the why behind my chapter is chapter 14. It's called Helping with Pain. There are so many episodes of caregivers facing their loved one in pain, but not knowing that they're in pain. So my chapter discusses what the nonverbal signs of pain are so that you can treat someone that's not telling you. So part of it started with the fact that my mom would not admit she was in pain, but I could see the behaviors that she was doing that pointed specifically that there was something wrong. And I needed to prod her to get to the base of it. And then, like Lisa, I needed to go through the medical system to get the relief for her. I, in my end of life work, there's not a system left to go through. I have a hospice in my back pocket. I'm the eyes and ears and hands of hospice when the hospice nurse can't be there. And my goal is to make sure that my patients are comfortable at all times through their end of life. And I can do that with hospice help.
Oh my gosh, knowing the signs is so important. The communication that's not words. Give us one or two examples. What do we see?
So with my mom, it was a matter of she would rub her legs. She would be sitting in a chair and she would be rubbing her legs. And I would go, Mom, what's the matter? Nothing. I'm fine. Well, yeah. Guess what? Then you just keep peeling it a little bit more. It's obvious to me that you're in pain. And then where is it? Why is it? What can we do to help it? What are you doing now to help it? And like I said in my chapter, my mom hates that pain scale thing. So we do a smiley face thing. There's one called Faces. The connection is in my chapter to do the face scale so that she can judge by how happy or sad she is as to how much pain she's in. And that works so much better for her.
I'm with her. I don't like the number system. Plus, everyone has got such a different pain tolerance anyway that the numbers are kind of relative. So you have to know the person to know what their number means.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else you want to tell us about that? Like,
Well, and some of the patients are very stoic. So people that have served in the military have been told, deny it.
mm,
You have no pain. You need to
mm-hmm.
do whatever you're doing in spite of anything that you're feeling. And so family members, I was sitting at a table with a family member and I just glanced on the table and here's the gentleman's hat. He was a Vietnam veteran. And I said, this is why he won't tell you about his pain. He's not supposed to. But this is what you're seeing that shows that he's in pain. His jaw is clenched, his brow is furrowed, like way, way deep. I said, is his brow always like that? Oh no. I said,
Mm,
well then, yeah. Hands gripped really, really tight, protective. Don't want you to touch them because they know that if you touch them, it will hurt. Things like those that are a big flashing sign that there's something going on.
yeah. And big power in observation and really paying attention, listening in another way, you guys, to what is in front of you. Veronica, thank you for saying yes to this and bringing your heart and soul into this chapter. So, Dr. Ackerman, please tell us a little bit about your why.
Thanks. I want to thank you, Laura, Debbie, all the authors, and especially those listening to this because we were all sitting in your seats, likely, and going through this journey. My chapter is 17, the legal side of caregiving, specifically with Parkinson's disease, but really for all diseases. We obviously want a cure for everyone out there. My mother unfortunately passed on 2020 due to Parkinson's disease. And instead of kind of closing the page, selfish way, I felt that she lost, 15 years living due to Parkinson's and then also likely many years after. So I didn't want her to be forgotten due to Parkinson's. There's a lot of challenges with the disease that we wouldn't get to today, but it's the fastest growing neurological disorder in the world with 1.3 million people battling today. And shockingly, just a few weeks ago, There was a TV media program saying that there'll be about 25 million people in only another 15, 20 years. So part of the reason for the chapter is that there's so many challenges with any disease, but on top of that, it's the planning that you kind of lose a path towards. As an attorney and a police officer and a lot of experience just as an advocate, I had a little bit of luck that my mother, helped me help her. And that's the biggest message is really, I don't mind people arguing over life and things, but at a certain point in your life, if you're a caregiver or really, just helping family, a friend through struggle, have to think about planning. And that's the legal side that kind of turned the light bulb for me. My mother allowed me to be her power of attorney. But I think back and realize, even though we lost her to this disease, in a way, and she was a saint because she helped us, allow us to help her. So even all the way past her passing to, distributing property to things that we don't really want to think about, they're almost like taboo topics. She helped me allow our family to grieve, but also concentrate on kind of not forgetting, but getting back into our own lives, but never forgetting. So my main message really is that there's a lot of things you might not want to talk about because you don't want to see what the end of the road is, but it really will help avoid families from, in a way, sadly tearing one another apart, and a lot of financial situations and just arguments that could be really thwarted and prevented if everybody takes a moment to work together in this advocacy.
Communication is so important, yet I think there's over the span of all the families you think of, some are better at it than others, and or just have a bad pattern of not communicating. So if if that's somebody's listening and that's their situation, what's the best way to initiate a conversation that doesn't ruffle too many feathers? What's the point there that you want to make in terms of how to be the initiator?
Think it's really support, caring, and team effort. I think it's worse if you don't have a will, or I won't bring up too much because my father, unfortunately, has been in the hospital for over a month in New York currently. He has zero plans. Unfortunately, he didn't want to do or follow the path my mother did. Unfortunately, again, Parkinson's disease, we were told you don't pass away due to the disease, you pass away. You can live, everybody's journey different, but you can live many years with it. So we were in shock that she passed due to Parkinson's. So I wasn't sure as the caregiver the last 4 years of her life when we might lose her, but I did need to make very important decisions, whether it was what to do if there's an emergency for her, how to, deal with her financial situations, how to pay for her home so she could stay in it. So these are all important issues that my father, despite we tried to calmly tell them, didn't follow. So he's kind of in a bad situation now. This could have been avoided. So I just say, be a friend, be a family member, but really through love and support is the key. It's not an argument. No one's trying to take advantage of someone. And that's the point. If you plan, do these steps, really you can avoid the other dark side in a way of advocacy and also of caregiving.
You can avoid it. Oh my goodness. Yes. Thank you for saying yes to this and for just being here to share these really important pieces. You guys, all of you, I have such a big thank you to all of you. I want to share a little peek at the book cover while I say that thank you. There it is in all its purple glory, and George is matching the book cover today. I love that. But, thanks for taking the challenge I gave you to put that vulnerable story into the book. And then you step up as the master teachers you are with a tool that's going to help people to really understand a new resource, new support. And you all teach and help people every day, but it's quite another thing to get it in the book in a way that people will have an experience with. And you did it brilliantly. The book is an amazing gift. Veronica, I'm going to come over to you with this question. There are caregivers listening at all sort of stages of struggle. It can be pretty intense sometimes. I think all of our interviewees have said the same thing. Hey, this is a tough road, y'all. Like we get it. What would be your personal message to someone in the middle of that struggle right now? Oh, let me get you to unmute, Miss Veronica. There we go.
I really want people to know that they're doing the best that they can. There are places you can reach out for support. The support for caregivers is growing as the population of caregivers grows. And we know that it's so, so difficult to do. You love them dearly, but you have soccer practice, you have tests for kids, somebody's in drama and you've got to get them there. There's a field trip, but at the same time, you're caring for a failing loved one. You're in that sandwich generation. Your parents that you love dearly, your own family, yourself sandwiched in with your own family, and you need help, and we're out there to help you. And that's why so many of these chapters just reach in and say, we're here to stand by you. Please
Yes.
come know that there's help, and know that you are doing the best you can, and keep it up, because your loved one needs you.
Yes. Best message ever. Thank you for that. I think everybody will nod their head at that particular message for, especially for the authors in this book. You're all saying the same kinds of things too. I want people to know so much that they're not alone. You all are so generous with your advice and your support and what you offer in the world. Dr. Ackerman, how about you? What's the personal message that you have today to somebody who might be in the middle of that, really that legal struggle or the financial struggle?
I mean, I had the honor to know some of the authors in the first edition of this book, so they all today become like family. Same with the authors in this book, because I felt alone. You know, my mother actually never met someone, didn't know somebody existed for 15 years who had Parkinson's, and that shocks me today after 5 years of advocacy and meeting so many in the Parkinson's community. And as a caregiver, I felt very alone. We had to juggle just our health and things, and I just some days I kind of, you shut the social media, shut everything, and kind of just scream silently, wishing you can get somebody out there to support. So my main message, as many of you are saying, is that you're not alone. And now through this research, you can actually reach out to individuals on LinkedIn, through Facebook. And I feel we've all need to be, and I've become a family in the fight for a cure for any disease, because, I might be a voice, but when we all join together, I always say our voices are so much stronger together.
Mm-hmm. For sure. One of the points of a collaborative book as well. As a team, we come out, as a village, we come out and we help a lot of people that way. Lisa, how about you? Tell us what your personal message is today to somebody who might be in the middle of that caregiving and the struggle of it.
Well, the struggle is very real, and one thing that I've learned, not only through personal experience with my own family and close friends, but also clients who I help, is the need for people to have what I call a tag team of caregivers. Caregiving is so exhausting. Even being an advocate can be incredibly exhausting. And the much as George talks about, advanced planning, I think people don't want to think about it because it's not something pleasant. But one thing that I have seen and learned so clearly is, if you don't have a plan in place, by default, somebody else is going to create a care plan for you. And that can be very, very scary. But expecting one person to be the sole and primary caregiver, I think, is a recipe for really disaster and burnout. It's a very time and energy intensive job. And if people can think while they're well about who can be a small team for them, who they can rely on before anything happens. I do encourage a lot of people to be proactive with their health care. Much like George, I was an estate administrator before my trigeminal neuralgia struck. and helped people, with their advanced planning. But with the state administration, I found that despite incredible amounts of wealth, people were more comfortable dealing with tax consequences of their assets than thinking about what's going to happen if they need somebody to care for them, to help them. And I have to say that in my experience, estate attorneys in general are very uncomfortable with the topic of dealing with their clients failing. They're there to help them, minimize tax liability. But I've never known anyone who talks about your caregiving team. And I think that you do yourself and the people who you care about the most a tremendous favor by taking care of your advanced healthcare planning, legal planning, but also pulling that team together of people who are willing to step in, who will not get burned out because they can be relieved by someone else. And that is incredibly important.
Yes. Okay, you guys, I want everyone who's hearing this interview today to go buy this book for their estate attorney. Maybe you should get them like 2 or 3 copies. We'll put it in their all their offices, right? And they can hand it out. That'll be great for the team. I want to give all of you a chance to talk a little bit more about the tool and the thing that you're teaching in your chapters. So, Dr. Ackerman, I'm not sure if you can talk about it, but you're in kind of a special place today, and thank you for joining us, even though you're doing this special thing today. What's the most important thing you want people to know about advocacy for Parkinson's disease care?
I appreciate you bring this attention. Unfortunately, the media now is getting involved more, and it's not. Often I say it's great that I'm kind of, getting known. I started my website togetherforsharon.com. I've interviewed 2,000 people around the world. I thought there were just 1.3 million people in the U.S. and was shocked to find out 10 million people worldwide battling Parkinson's. But I thought there'd be 3 or 4 people visit our site, and I'd be happy with that. We've had over 50,000 people, and again, sometimes I'm not happy about that because that means the disease is growing. So the biggest thing for me is 24/7, like my fellow co-writers here said, is advocacy. Some days I feel like a train drove over me because it's 24/7. Even though I can't bring my mother back, I never want anyone to feel like what my mother had to go through again, and I don't want anyone to feel alone like I did. So we continue to push forward. Some days are tough, some days are even tougher. Even giving speeches around the country. You don't know me, but I'm 6'2", 200 pounds in law enforcement. But speaking for a few moments about my mother and her loss, I fall apart sometimes. So still grieving today, even 5 years later. And the biggest thing is really every person I meet, like you, the 2 incredible, lovely ladies today, all the fellow writers on the book, and all our amazing supporters now will remember my mother, and that's really all I can ask. Of course, I hope they'll purchase the book and support everyone, because again, I wish we had this tool when I was battling and felt alone. Because if I picked it up, it would have been a different life-changing event. And even more importantly, which I have to keep saying, is you can likely contact everyone. And that's like something that is so rare, because you might read a book, buy a book, and you kind of try and contact the person, you'll never hear. You might be able to reach the publisher, and that's not going to happen. But in my experience, you can actually go on LinkedIn. You can like email us. It's something that you can't purchase really, or it's so valuable that I think it makes a tool come to life. And that's what we're all doing. Most of us, or all of us, I'm not looking for, we don't accept money. Obviously we need to for the book, but I do this because it's just a passion, and I'd rather have my mother back and find a cure tomorrow and end this advocacy. But until there is a cure, I'll be right by everybody's side fighting 24/7.
Thank you for that. Oh my gosh, yeah. What a fight that is. Okay, so Lisa, I'm going to come to you next. What's that most important thing you want people to know? I'm taking this from your chapter titles, but when you talk about not having a care partner, tell us the nugget you want us to know about that.
It's you make it really impossible for yourself without a care partner to be able to navigate what's become a very confusing system and continues to become more confusing by the day. Going through it alone is it's not a badge of courage. It's not anything to be proud of. It literally is impossible. And with my work as an advocate helping people, I have found that because the healthcare system continues to change in ways that we're never really informed about directly. Laura, it's directly because of this opportunity to participate with this group of colleagues on such an important project that I've created a new landing page called Soul Sherpa Solutions. And it's an online tutorial program explaining to people why you do not want to go through this process alone. It's difficult enough to go through it alone, but if you add the dynamic healthcare system that we're in and all of the changes that are taking place, and people are living longer. There are more baby boomers who are moving into Medicare age. The younger population numbers just don't match what we are. And the fact of the matter is, if you're not proactive, if you don't seek help really before you need it, you are just setting up a recipe for disaster. And of course, I didn't know any of these things when I first started experiencing my symptoms in 2006. A few months before, my husband and I had hiked Mount Whitney in a single day. Took 18 hours, but we did it. And you just don't want to think about it. But literally, my condition hit me overnight. I had no advance warning. I was so ill prepared to deal with the path in front of me, a misdiagnosis, fighting with an insurance company that didn't want to cover what were medically necessary and reasonable costs, trying to figure those things out when you're by yourself and when you're already vulnerable because a certain health condition has affected you. You're behind the eight ball, far behind. And it really, you want to talk about a call to action, getting a plan in place, finding people who are truly reliable, who you're not going to dump everything on is so incredibly important. So I can't emphasize enough the importance of this type of pre-planning that so many people are happy to do when it comes to their property and their assets, but not when it comes to them as human beings. And I personally think that your life is worth much more than whatever assets and property you might have. And you're doing yourself a tremendous favor by doing this advanced planning that is going to allow you to have the best quality of life and not get caught up in in a system of care and support that really isn't there for us.
Yes. Yes, with the exclamation point, y'all, on that one. All right. Veronica, so take us out in your nugget of understanding here. What's the most important thing you want people to know about when you're assessing pain in that person you're caregiving for, but maybe they aren't telling you like verbally? Tell us what you want us to know about that.
The importance of watching those body cues so that you can get them the support that they need. And then being the advocate for them to make sure that what medication they find is effective, whether that means going to a doctor appointment for them in the early stages of whatever they're suffering. Just knowing the nonverbal signs when you're walking on the street Do you know how many people on the street are walking around in pain and continue to walk? Well, if you run across them and they're being difficult, look at that sign. They're in pain and they're continuing to do their daily activities at the best they can, but that might make your temper a little bit shorter. And the same goes for the person that's in the bed that you're caring for. Their their pain that they're trying, people say they don't want to be a burden. Well, so they won't tell anybody that they're in pain, or they'll underrate their pain or say, no, I'm fine. But you can say to them, I see this and I see this and I see this, and it leads me to believe that you're not as fine as you say you are, and I'm here to help. So just that extra acknowledgement of, I'm here to help. Let's solve this together. That's an important message that everyone needs to know. Thank you.
Very. Thank you for giving us some of the language. Veronica Shears, Lisa Berry Blackstock, and Dr. George Ackerman, thank you so much for what you do in the world and for being here today to share it with everyone. You guys, this is way more than a book. This is an incredibly generous community. Maybe you have a question from today, or you want to carry on the conversations that we started, or you need the support. Drop down into the show notes. I have all of our authors hooked up with their websites and links. Go explore what they're up to. They are there to answer those questions for you. And of course, we hope you hop over to Amazon and grab your copy of this amazing book. The link is below for that as well. Lastly, today, everyone, remember, your words change the world when you're brave enough to share them. So it is time to be brave. See you next time, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, authors.